Hey folks, so this week I'm going to do something a little different. Typically, I will dive into a data technical issue and just show you how to do stuff and inject a ton of whimsy into that process. This week, though, we're talking about data ethics. And each time I've attempted to write the script for this sequence of videos, I keep coming back to the fundamental issue that, well, data ethics is a long process and it is a constant conversation. The conversation is frankly always moving. Uh, and while the big ideas are, at least for now, pretty consistent, I suspect that each time anyone goes through this class, the conversation about what the current zeitgeist is on data privacy and ethics in data science is going to be changing. So while the big conversations about data privacy, as well as consent, and thirdly of unforeseen consequences of various data implications, um, they change every time, actually, every time I sit down. And these also differ by field. So, in behavior genetics and kind of just statistical genetics in general, the big ethical issue, or at least the one I think about, is uh, privacy in DNA databases. Um, because a lot of people will opt into these websites with a very specific goal of finding relatives. And when I say websites, I'm talking about 23andMe, um, Ancestry.com, and see all the other databases that I'm connected to. And the issue there is when you are sharing your DNA, I mean, one of many issues there. When you're sharing your DNA, you're not just sharing yours, you're sharing your cousins and your parents and your grandparents. And they didn't consent. Maybe they would, but that sharing shares more. And why does that matter? Well, those databases are used by law enforcement and in really clever ways, as well as by scientists. And while some of the big classic examples, the big one that I keep thinking about that I haven't actually talked about is the Golden State Killer and how they used genetic genealogy to find him by identifying cousins that shared DNA profile matches. I think there were fourth cousins, and using those people's information to then trace up both their family trees and essentially stalk these individuals through data, um, to find out their common ancestor. And then once they traced back up to find their common ancestor amongst the three, so the Golden State Killer and the two cousins, then tracing down and finding everyone who shared that common ancestor. And while it's super duper duper cool, it also has some really dark implications and unforeseen consequences. So this week, instead of talking to you about the Golden State Killer or talking to you about um, the social credit system in China or about Google's issues with AI at the moment, I'm going to direct you to the course notes because this week, in recognition that there's no way to have any kind of evergreen lecture content, is to acknowledge that and encourage you to contribute to the course notes. I'll give some more detail and documentation in the lecture note and in the course website. I'll have more info there. I'm just babbling at this point. Is a fish. So I'll see you later. Thanks for bearing with me. Bye.